Hey, what's going on to all of my Virgos? So please make sure to get the book at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. The links will be in the description box below as usual. So, I know how to say a lot of harsh things, but it's things that it's honestly things that needs to be said, right? Like I was, before we begin, I was actually learning I was learning from studying this, right? But I also heard this from somewhere, but I actually had to take the time to understand what it means, right? It didn't take me long, but I always knew this, right? But now I'm just expressing it. A lot of the times people are so worried, right? And I'm shuffling up the cards. A lot of the times people are so worried about how a person says something. They don't seem to understand that Scorpio approach, that Aries approach, harsh, blunt, honest, integrity is the best and the fastest way to create the change that they want. Because and I'll give you an example of this, right? An example of this is, how is it that you teach people to swim? You show them a couple of times and then you push them right in the pool. And if they don't learn to swim, well, then they're kind of at the mercy of their own selves in the pool. Of course, you jump in, save them, try again. But that's the point that I'm trying to make here. If you want real effective change, the only way, if you really want real effective change, the most long-lasting change and the fastest to be able to get to the change that you want, you have to induce trauma. But too often times, some people, right, they don't like some of the stuff that I have to say, even in certain times in private readings. Listen. This is the reason why it is that sometimes people will come to me and they leave messed up. It's because they're not ready to deal with a lot of the stuff that they're dealing with. They still like being dysfunctional, because at the end of the day, it really comes down to how much do you really want to change? How much do you really want to learn? Because the only answer that anyone who is serious is really going to tell you is, I will do whatever it takes. See, doing whatever it takes is different than just doing whatever. Whatever it takes is, as long as it's necessary, I will do it. And doing whatever it takes is, I'll lie to myself to keep myself safe. I'll be delusional. I'll play as if I don't understand certain things. That's not real change, and it's not going to bring you the change you claim that you really want. So that's just my own thing. Let's get into it, Virgo. The Star, the Tower, Three of Wands, Hangman, wow. Okay, the Moon, Hierophant, wow. The Knight of Cups, Page of Wands, Five of Swords, Ten of Swords. I am doing 15 again. The Sun, this is my favorite deck of cards, that and the Rider-Waite. Ten of Wands, Five of Pentacles. I love all of my deck of cards. Five of Pentacles, Chariot, the Strength. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 15 cards are major arcana. So let's get into it for the Virgos. So for the Virgos, the Star, the Tower, the Three of Wands. Some of you Virgos wanted to be in a relationship with a particular person, but the Tower card happened, right? Or the Tower moment happened. Things didn't work out as planned. Remember, love is the hardest area for the Virgos. So the Three of Wands, so now the Virgos are just working on themselves, remaining patient, not necessarily for love. You could be patient for love, but the Three of Wands represents being patient just in general, having control over your emotional state, right? Of even if this is a situation where love doesn't work out for you. It's more so about handling your own business in other areas of life, right? The Hangman. This is about how, you know, you're not necessarily, a lot of you Virgos aren't stressing love. I don't. I'm a Virgo. I'm not really stressing it. I don't stress it at all. The moon reflecting. The moon is not, when I say reflection, I mean like introspection, right? Which is a Virgo principle, introspection. That's what the moon represents. It also represents pain. So, you know, it's not a very pleasurable card. So this is about the Virgos asking, some of you Virgos asking yourselves, why is love so difficult for you? Why is getting into relationships so difficult for you? Love is difficult for you because you have to understand that, to my Virgos, right? And I'm going to get into this. The Virgos are ruled by the 6th house. The 6th house rules open enemies, as to where the 11th house represents hidden enemies in the form of family, friends, and loved ones, right? Romantic situations. The 12th house, which is what the 6th house is the opposite of. The 12th house is naturally ruled by Pisces. The 12th house rules escapism, isolationism, and just wanting to do things by your own self. That's part of the reason why the 11th and the 12th house are literally so close together. It's one after the other. The 11th house rules what? Aquarius, or is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is the loner. And the 12th house represents also the loner. So, zodiac signs like Scorpio, Virgo, Aquarius, Pisces, they're loner zodiac signs, right? Because they deal with a lot of pain. So the moon is about how you need to learn to get over that, right? And as we're getting deeper into that, the Hierophant comes up. This is where the Hierophant comes into place. Upon studying, you Virgos have been trying to figure out what is so special. Why is it that you can't have that? Well, I'm going to give you your answer. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Most people are dumb. Why is it that you think that during Mercury retrogrades, people go AWOL in the mind? Their mind is all out to lunch. During Mercury retrogrades, what Mercury retrogrades do is make people whose minds are already out to lunch, the lights are on but no one's home, even more present, and it just amps it up times 2. So if they were dumb before, it just makes them even more that. So I'm giving y'all your answer, because I remember myself being times of Mercury retrograde where I've noticed that that you know, in high school, times that, you know, during Mercury retrograde, when people come up with all these just idiotic things to have a problem with, and they don't understand how dumb they sound. And the Mercury retrograde is ramping it up, because the people who were normally dumb but kept it at a minimum, they're upticking on their idiocracy. So that's the reason why people are chasing dumb things, right? People are chasing people who abuse them, trying to get attention, money for love, tricking, paying for it, paying for love, paying for relationships. All of these dumb things to ignore, which is what Virgo rules. Virgo rules being ignored or being invisible. Opposite the 12th house, the 12th house represents the house of invisibility. People ignore Virgos being invisible. Is what Mercury retrogrades bring into perspective is the idiocracy of just how deep the mental illness goes. That's why when Mercury retrograde, which we happen to be up under, happens, you start to see people, like I said, uptick on the mental illness. They're dumb. If you as a person can't figure out, this person said for me to call them at 9 o'clock, and I called them at 9 o'clock, and now they don't want to talk. I'm not going to call this person. If you can't figure out to stop calling that person, then you may have some issues going on. But if you keep denying it, the problem is going to get worse. And that's what Mercury retrogrades do. So now you have your answer. The Knight of Cups and the Page of the Knight of Cups and the Page of Wands represents, now that you have this level of understanding, or some of you Virgos may have even come to your own conclusions, you're deciding to actually do something about it and take action. So the Page of Wands is about your new approach to relationships, right? Five of Swords, Ten of Swords, essentially wanting to be done with the conflict. Whatever it is that people try to give you conflict, or they act like idiots and they play all, they do all this other type of stuff. The Virgo is just being like, all right. And that's very correct, because distance is one of the most powerful tools at Virgo's disposal. Them and the air signs. That's why air signs use distance. Remember, it's air. What creates like air molecules, or what creates sound? Air molecules being spread out. Distance. So distance is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. It allows you to preserve who you are, and at the same time watch and be vigilant as to who's, as to who's doing what and what's going on. You have a vantage point. So the Sun card and the Ten of Wands represents the kind of new mentality that you're starting to have. The Sun represents revival, rebirth, right? Reinvention, right? And the Ten of Wands represents you have a new flair for life. The Five of Pentacles represent, in this case, it represents new vitality. So there's a whole new era of reinvention for the Virgos. The Chariot and the Strength represents how a lot of you Virgos, all right, some of you Virgos may be going through this, right? A lot of you Virgos also are moving forward from the pain, from the suffering, from the heartache, to a whole new level of strength that you didn't necessarily anticipate coming, even to the point where you're able to defeat the dragon by working with it. If you want to know more about what I mean by that, you're going to have to come through and get a reading. I haven't gotten readings from anybody. Nobody has come through and got a reading in over a month, so I can only say certain things in videos. Y'all want the real deep stuff, but, y'all are going to have to pay for it. Don't just, I'm going to be in the dark. Well, so I don't know. At the end of the day, do whatever it is that you want. Let's clarify the Strength. Alright, so the Magician, which is a Mercury card. Five of Swords, High Priestess. You do have people who are paying attention to you, interested in you romantically, who curved you, but they're interested in you, and they see you doing your own thing and really working your own magic, and they see you, but at the same time they don't know how to come at you. It could also be a form of jealousy too, so watch that. You wouldn't want those people back. Let's clarify the Chariot. Let's clarify the Chariot. Ace of Pentacles, Five of Wands, the Devil card. Yeah, a lot of people are, when a lot of you Virgos have noticed that, like, this is, slow down. The Chariot is about how you realize that you need to keep it pushing. And like I said, once you watch this video and you can understand what I'm saying, distance is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal that you can use. You understand that you need to keep or maintain that distance, as well as create that distance pretty much with everyone whom you're going to date, have dated, and will ever date, because you're realizing why. You will bring, especially if you're one of those Virgos that's on point, you will bring a lot to the table. But what they will bring to the table is BS fighting and idiocracy, being an idiot, and trying to get you addicted to the drama, and you Virgos are not into that. Regardless of whatever it is that you have in between your legs, I don't care. I'm not judging. I don't care. I'm just saying, regardless of who you are, Virgos are not a zodiac sign like that. Once Virgos realize that you on that type of stuff, and the thing is that sometimes people will mistake the Virgos for being like non-confrontational. And it's not that the Virgos are non-confrontational. What it is the Virgos may not necessarily see the point in, like, at the like it can't, like, for me, for instance, it came to a point with me where I started to date so many people, right? Not at one point, but I mean, like, you know, one at a time, collectively, to the point where I started to realize it's not the best idea for me to really tell these people and call them up, hey, listen, I want to break up, even when I was trying to be the good individual, because I'm starting to realize, not starting to, but I at the time, I was starting to realize that it's actually easier for me to just ghost them and keep my distance. Because when you're trying to tell people, hey, listen, such, they will not own up to what they did. They will continue to be delusional about that. So what are you supposed to do, right? You know what I mean? You can't force someone to act as if they have common sense. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to contact me for a personal reading, my email address as well as the prices are in the description box below. Yeah. Peace.